What's happening, guys? Welcome to Level 1 Gaming, where I talk about games that I'm currently playing, have played, or looking forward to playing. Today I'm going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. I've been looking forward to this game ever since I beat the first God of War and found out that Kratos' wife was a giant, making Atreus part giant, part god, part human. And the way they set everything up, you knew there was going to be a sequel. There was no doubt about it. So I'm going to go through the Ragnarok trailer, break down what we can expect to see, talk about what I hope to see, and also my first impressions based on the materials provided. Before I get into it, all I ask is that you do like and subscribe to help with the YouTube algorithm, which will help build this small channel. So let's get deep into it. What is Ragnarok? Well, according to Norse mythology, Ragnarok is the cataclysmic destruction of the cosmos and all things in it, even the gods. I don't know if you've played God of War 1 through 3, but based on his track record, Kratos tends to be the cataclysmic destruction of all things, especially the gods. So I have a suspicious feeling that he's gonna be the reason for bringing about Ragnarok. Based on the materials that have been released so far, we see that there are a few familiar faces returning to this next installment. First off, you have Atreus. Of course, he'd return. He's Kratos' son and his trusty sidekick, and he's grown, so that would definitely stand to reason that Ragnarok is occurring a few years after the events of the first God of War. Atreus was 11 in the first God of War, so judging by how he looks now, I'd say it's about 3 or so years after the events. 3, maybe 4 years after the events of the first God of War. And it seems Atreus is riddled with teen angst and god-killing hormones, as you do, because he's talking about he wants to find out about his past, he wants to know who Loki is, and if need be, start a war with the gods. But it seems Kratos is pretty much straight on killing gods for now. And I don't blame him. God killing's gotta be stressful. My man's old now. I'm pretty sure he just wants to sit back, eat deer meat, and sip on some ale. The next familiar face that you see is Freya, who looks quite pissed. She is gunning for your blood, and it's just because you clapped her Psycho Son's cheeks in the first game. He had it coming. Dude needed to be put on a t-shirt, plain and simple.
I thought you'd be bigger.
But she just doesn't see it that way, oh, you killed my son, now I'm gonna exact my revenge, blah 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 type of story. So I'm assuming that pretty much she's gonna be an antagonist throughout the game, basically being a thorn in your side. After that, we have everyone's favorite talking head, Mimir, who seems to be getting in touch with his artistic side. Not sure how it's gonna work out since he only has his mouth to paint with, but I'm pretty sure he'll figure something out. He has nothing but time. We also see the Dwarf brothers making a comeback, so I'm assuming they're gonna be continuing their roles of giving you armor and weapon upgrades, stuff like that. Now that we've gone over the familiar characters, let's talk about some of the new ones that we're seeing. I noticed that there is a new dwarf. He looks like a dwarf, either that or he's just a short person, but I'm assuming he's a dwarf and he has a pet octopus, it seems. I'm not sure the significance of the octopus, but we shall see. He does seem to be an important character in the new game. Maybe he gives some kind of magic upgrades, or he carries something completely different for Kratos, or he provides something completely different for Kratos and Atreus, but we shall see. This is where things get really interesting, because for anyone who's played the previous God of War, this person's appearance was very much anticipated, and I'm talking about Thor. And even though we only get a glimpse, he looked like he gonna be nasty. And you already know this isn't gonna be the altruistic, honorable warrior Thor from the Marvel movies. No, this is gonna be the douchebag Thor. And I'm pretty sure he's on the same mission as Freya, because you kinda killed his sons in the previous game. But in Kratos' defense, they were douchebags, so they also had it coming, just like Baldur. Another new character we're shown is a pretty surprising one, and that is Tyr, the God of War of this land. I did not expect them to bring in another God of War, but I'm all for it because it makes for a very interesting turn of events. It seems that Tyr had a falling out with Odin, and he got locked up in a crazy sex dungeon somewhere. Kratos seeks him out because he needs his help for something. I'm not sure what that something is, but I'm definitely interested to see what role Tyr will play in the game. One thing I know for sure is that Tyr is what Norsemen call a big boy. The last new person that we see is a strange girl who says that you'll be getting the answers that you're looking for, but only some of them. So she's trying to be mysterious and coy. We'll see what role she plays. I'm not sure if she's going to be someone that you meet along the way, or maybe she's someone that is a part of a memory, a flashback, someone a part of Kratos' past. Maybe she's related to Kratos' wife in some way. Who knows? It'll be pretty interesting. Really quick, I would like to touch on some characters that I would like to see make an appearance in this next installment. Firstly, Odin. We've been hearing up and down about this guy from the beginning of the first God of War, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be hearing more about him in this next installment. And I think Heimdall would be an awesome person to see, and not necessarily to have to fight them right away, but to at least start seeing them play some kind of role in the God of War series. Now let's talk about my favorite part, the combat. The first God of War completely overhauled the fighting mechanics that we were used to from the first set of games, and it did it amazingly. You had a more cinematic view with the camera being right behind Kratos' shoulder. You had the added bonus of Atreus being a certified beast with the bow, and you would go through, you would be hacking and slashing, but it felt a little bit more satisfying when you would hack them to pieces with your axe or rip them in half with your bare hands. In relation to the combat, you have to talk about weapons. God of War has always had bomb-ass weapons, and the new God of War definitely did not disappoint, especially with Kratos' Leviathan axe, which to me, I feel like that axe is like a whole new character. It's like a whole character in itself, because you throw it and then you call it back. It's just so reliable. It's good for hacking, it's good for slashing, and it's good for long range attacks as well. So that axe had so much range, it was ridiculous. The other weapons I see making a comeback are my babies, the Blades of Chaos. I've been in love with them since the first God of War, and I'm glad that they've made the transition into the new God of War, and we'll be coming back on this installment to clap some serious cheeks. We also see the return of the Guardian Shield, which can be used offensively and defensively, but it seems they are being sneaky and keeping anything new that they might have under wraps, because I didn't see any new weapons being showcased in the trailer. But that's fine. At the end of the day, I know for a fact that there's gonna be something new, because in God of War there always is a new weapon, and it's always something crazy. But I'm curious, what weapon would you like to see make an appearance in the new God of War? Put in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you guys come up with. Me personally, I'd love to see a giant hammer. I love the giant hammer back in God of War 2, so it would be pretty cool to see Kratos wielding just a huge mallet. And or just speculating here, what if you somehow end up taking Mjolnir from Thor? That would be dope, but we'll see. So yeah, put that in the comments below. Let me see what you think. Really quick, I wanted to touch on the monsters, the enemies. It looks like we're gonna have a pretty good assortment of monsters to kill in this, but then again, God of War has always been very good when it comes to making a nice array of monsters to fight. So I don't think that we have anything to worry about in terms of being bored with fighting monsters in the game. So based on everything that we've seen so far, we've been presented and we're able to break down, my first impressions are that this game is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be badass. Like, the story is gonna be dope, the action is gonna be crazy. All the returning characters that we see, the new characters that we've been shown, the different assortment of monsters and everything are indications that this is going to be what a sequel should be, a continuation of the badassery, which in many cases is not the situation for a lot of sequels in general. Sometimes sequels, they tend to falter and they're just not done as well as the original. Now, I don't think God of War will have that issue, since they have a good track record, or the makers of God of War have had a good track record of always making quality work. But the one thing that I hope they don't fall victim to is the trap of poor development. Lately, games that have been highly anticipated have had the issue of poor development, meaning that they're buggy, they have a lot of issues that make the game unplayable, and I'm hoping that this does not fall under that category of poorly developed games. At the end of the day, we're not gonna know until the game comes out, and we get to really sink our teeth into it. But one thing's for sure is I'm definitely looking forward to this one, and I will be getting it, and I will do a review of it. If you guys want to see me do a playthrough of it, let me know, and I'll go ahead and record my time playing the game, so that way you'll see it from start to finish. Anyway, that's all from me. I hope you like this video. If so, make sure to like and subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to keep you up to date on all the videos that I'll be posting in the future. Alright guys, see you in the next one.